I'm gonna give you the possible options of my next guest.
Sure.
Because the thing is that your episode is quite special because the next one actually has to be Drew because it's connected with Jolt. So people will understand in a second. Well, in the next episode. I don't know when this is going to be posted. After, but I'm sure that it's going to be posted after Drew one.
If it's Jolt, then it has.
That's the only thing I know. But for now, it's a bit a mess.
I guess since you have already interviewed Stephen.
Do you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello guys, welcome once again to Bitcoiner podcast. Today, we're gonna discuss something related with the previous episodes. You'll find out in a moment. So, first of all, I want to say that the person that is here, I really admire her because she's woke up really early. She's in El Salvador right now. We're gonna discuss about her journey in adopting Bitcoin in El Salvador, but she's woke up at 8 a.m. What the hell? So I will never be wake up at 8 a.m. So I really admire you. Khushboo, welcome to Bitcoiner podcast.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you for having me. I'm gonna be fun.
Yeah. So how was adopting Bitcoin? We were discussing that it was your first time in El Salvador. So first, let's talk about adopting Bitcoin in general. How was your experience there?
This was my first time in El Salvador, and this was beyond my expectation. It's a high signal conference. I came with no expectation at all because I was in Europe and I was traveling a lot, and so I was like, okay, I have to reach El Salvador. The moment I reached the airport and at the immigration, I was like, I'm here for the conference. They were like, oh, Bitcoin conference. I was like, yeah, So it started from there, and then being here and talking to people over here, the vibe is completely different. And and then when you're in a place where Bitcoin is a legal tender, it's special. So yeah, adopting Bitcoin really, really a good experience. And I was on a panel on building Bitcoin, and it was basically to have our insights from a VC we had on the panel. Oleg from Fulgar Venture, Jack Lee from HCM Capital, and Chris Hunter. So it was a good panel. I had a great time. Yeah.
I also saw that you were the MC of a panel from the guys that make coffee in El Salvador. It was Café there.
And at the last moment, I was being told would you love to be as a moderator on this panel on coffee? And I was like, okay, coffee and Bitcoin in one go. Why not? I mean, coffee addict. And when you combine it with the Bitcoin, why not? And in fact, I met the panelists just 30 minutes before the panel. So it was we had a chit chat, a conversation, and we were we just went with the flow. We didn't prepare at all. We just went there and we were okay, whatever, comes to my mind, I'll ask you, and whatever question, whatever answer you give, I'll just, go with the year and pick up and frame some questions on the go. It was fun. And they are doing commendable work. They are doing something which is at the intersection of, Bitcoin and coffee, which is great. Amazing. Kudos to these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Even Jorge was in the podcast and I admire his background. It's really cool. It's super nice. Yeah.
Of course. Great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I agree with you. That's one thing that I think it worked in my podcast is of course I do my own research about the people that I invite to the podcast, but it's most of the time is I have some questions, but I go with the flow because I think that's the best way to do this kind of interviews, chatting.
Absolutely.
People like more chattings. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it should be more, informal and, you're not, prepared, and you don't have a set of questions. It's I also love these kinds of podcasts. I agreed, and the way you were okay, we'll just see whatever comes into our mind or whatever. It's great. So let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And And for you, how was your experience? I mean, not Bitcoin related at all. I'm just talking. I don't know. I don't know if you had the chance to go out a bit, explore the country a bit, or are you been just talking
No,
with other Bitcoiners?
no, because at the conference was like from since morning. I
Friday
mean,
to
from
side.
morning till, yeah, and then there was after party. So you know how it is.
All right. Ah, by the way, do you finally go to the on conference?
Yes, I was there at unconference
Cool.
also. There for a while, and yeah, it was good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my first unconference, so it was good.
All right. And have you tried the last but not least about Salvador? Have you tried the coffee and the pupusas?
Yes, of course, I did, and Hore gifted me the coffee after the panel. And I mean, El Salvador coffee is one of the best coffee, I can say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I saw it because the guys were streaming, and I saw that he gave you a mug, I think, and a coffee.
Yes,
So yeah,
mug, a Bitcoin mug with his branding, and I got coffee. What more can you ask for?
absolutely. Hey, so I was doing a research about your background, and I saw that you have a PhD in economics. So I want to ask you. I'm really curious about what do you learn in the PhD in economics, because um, I had a conversation with a lot of people that comes from an economics background, and sometimes they say that there's like a lack in the when you're studying right now economics, in terms of you're not learning enough, or at least the proper questions that you need to ask, right? Like, for example, that there's inflation, but I'm not talking about PhD. I'm talking about basic level, right? Like, there's inflation in the world, but why comes inflation? They don't know, because you don't have the next question, that is because actually the fiat money is inflationary. Right? So those type of questions. So now that you have like a really long road on this, so what things have you learned that you think that are really valuable in this kind of careers, and what do you think are the ones that are missing, or that people should learn in this type of careers, or that may teach?
Okay, before that, just to give you, what I actually did in my PhD research, I actually
Mhm.
dove into the heart of India's energy sector and
Oh, that's
leveraging.
cool.
Sure, you can. So leverage econometric models to forecast, domestic production and import dependencies, and in a country as energy hungry as India, planning ahead is key. So my research was basically, it offered insights that would help policymakers to optimize resources, manage seasonal fluctuations, and ultimately, I would say, push for a more self-reliant energy future. So I used Arima and Sarima models to do forecasting, and actually that helped me in understanding and forecasting, inflation model. When you talk about consumer price index or WPI, wholesale price index, I used to do it when I was at Mizzou Bank. So I was into corporate banking, and you need to know, because my work at Mizzou was as an economist. So I used to model inflation, and that's where inflation became an important part, where we were doing because the central bank of India, which is the RBI, has you need to closely have a look at the policies, and how the monetary policy is going to be, what are the interest rates. So these were the things that I used to work on a daily basis, and we used to generate a report, a 25-page of report, where we give about the monetary policy, fiscal policy, how's the politics situation in the country, how's the the framework, how are things look like to a Japanese client, or to a foreign client, or to a CFO, which wants to understand, which want to have a micro and macro outlook of Indian economy. That was something that helped me in understanding, how the the system works. And I think when demonetization happened in 2016, that was an eye opener for me. I went into the rabbit hole and did some research more about Bitcoin, and that's how I, got committed and serious for the Bitcoin space.
Wow, that's awesome. And well, we all have like aha moments, right? But I don't know if you had like a one specific aha moments, or there was like a process during that you were doing all this research.
I mean, I had already, into 2016, I had already spent time, in a startup assessing and evaluating, I would say, Bitcoin exchange viability in emerging markets like India. But Bitcoin initially crossed my radar as a fascinating stuff that I thought is disruptive. But however, for me, it was like, maybe because of the ecosystem I was in, it took me a while to understand, then this concept deeply resonated with me, with the demonetization thing, and with the being so close to keeping an eye on inflation, and also it my economics background and my computer science background helped me to understand it in a better way, and to actually, because I was always intrigued by economics of money, policy, and global markets. So I was like, the thing that, Bitcoin with its fixed supply and peer-to-peer model, and it has the capacity to challenge traditional financial structures. So it was like, as I always say, it was like a, live economic experiment unfolding on the blockchain. So, eventually, while progressing in my fiat career, I eventually, felt and realized the importance of Bitcoin. So, yeah, so I wouldn't say it was just one moment that I got intrigued by it. It was a process. It took me a time,
Absolutely. And you mentioned about mining, right? So
yeah, I mean, in fact, when I was at Maribor, I did a keynote where I tried to talk about Bitcoin's emerging role in global energy security. And the idea was actually inspired by thinkers like Mike Skizer and Jason Lowry, and how its mining network, promotes efficient, sustainable energy use. And I tried to talk about this in detail. And I think, like, cybersecurity, used as a warfare and defense mechanism for showing power projection by holding Bitcoin and doing mining. I mean, this power projection via Bitcoin is national security equivalent of modern warfare. Yeah,
absolutely. So I want to ask you also about, well, now that you have been in El Salvador, probably, I mean, everyone's know that we have Bitcoin as a legal tender, but we also have our own, Bitcoin reserve, strategic reserve, and it's that we buy one Bitcoin every single day, nonstop. So what are your thoughts on this approach, Bukele's approach? How do you see impacting both El Salvador's economy and Bitcoin global's perception?
Well, after coming to El Salvador, one thing is very clear to me now, that, El Salvador will be the first inspiring country. So I mean, I have read about it. I was keeping a close eye to it, but being here, talking to people, understanding the ecosystem, the different altogether. I mean, it's a life-changing experience. And then I think, on terms of strategic Bitcoin reserve part, US will be second, always in history books of, as I think Trump enables it. And so for me, I mean, I'm in a golden hour where I'm seeing things, it's a good time for founders. It's a good time for people supporting this community. And I think it's a good time for VCs like us who are being committed to funding Bitcoin startups. And I think US will be a smart follower. El Salvador will always be a leader. So
okay, that's awesome. Yeah, we're gonna discuss about right now about Thunder Founder, because I want, and of course Lightning Ventures, because
yes,
this is something really interesting right now that's happening right now. But just one more question, because now that this thing it's related. Actually, recently Satoshi's Action Fund did recently the open sourcing their strategic Bitcoin reserve model policy in the US. And I don't know that you have seen there's this politician from, I don't remember the country. I think he was Polish, and he says that he will follow up. So
I mean, strategic Bitcoin reserve is a very important tool in game theory aspect of nation state going into buying Bitcoin, and B2G reserves is a very big corpus of fiat chasing Bitcoin. Imagine government reserves chasing Bitcoin. So Jan3 is one of our portfolio company that is doing commendable work. They do nation state advisory, and also they have Aqua Wallet. But what they are doing is really, incredible. And I completely agree with you. It's a game changer, and I think this would be really big. Bitcoin would be a main agenda for politicians now.
yeah.
Now they need Bitcoin. Yeah, and we started this seeing this in fact, I witnessed it personally during the Nashville Bitcoin conference when we saw Trump talking about it. So it was this is something really good. And Germany, then Suriname, and now Polish. This train is not going to stop, that's for sure.
Absolutely. All right. One last question about this, and we will start about Lightning Venture. Is that, there's a quote that I love about Jeff Booth that when he came to the podcast, it resonated in my mind and kept for my mind like a lot. And he says that Bitcoin isn't going up in value. Actually, FYI, for context, this episode was a year ago, and it aged really well because right now we're witnessing what is going on with Bitcoin. And he says that Bitcoin isn't going up in value, but it's rather repricing everything else that's coming down in value. So do you share this view? And how do you see this conception playing out of more countries and institutions we mentioned and politics are trying to adopt Bitcoin? It's interesting, right?
It's interesting. And I think since you mentioned Jeff Booth, he wrote a book. It's called Price of Tomorrow.
The Price of Tomorrow, yeah.
If I'm not wrong, and I think hyper Bitcoinization is an era of hyper deflation. That's my opinion. I agree with this. I think. As I said, it's gonna be. 2024 is the start, and we are gonna see more, things revolving around Bitcoin. It has, and repricing of everything will happen with technology, and I think AI will also, help us in taking us, in hyper deflation. So that's what I am looking forward to, and Bitcoin will be scale and ruler, or I would say a metric system to measure, and I think that's something I am completely bullish on. That's exactly the tool Bitcoin will become to measure wealth.
Yeah, why not? All right, so let's talk about Lightning Ventures. So you're focusing on supporting Bitcoin native startups, but also you're prioritizing Lightning, right? So, all right, so hold on. Maybe if you can give a little bit of context about what is Lightning Ventures for people that don't know.
Yeah, sure. We are a US-based VC firm that invests only in Bitcoin startups. And till now, we have invested in 40 plus Bitcoin native startups. You can, if you're building something groundbreaking in Bitcoin or Force, you can reach out to us. And I'm the venture partner at Lightning Ventures, and I mostly focus on, evangelizing Lightning Capital through leadership forums to increase, the reach of the brand of Lightning Ventures, Thunder Funder, and Spark Services, all different verticals. And either you can reach out to us via our website, which is ltng.ventures, or you can connect to me on my LinkedIn ID or my Twitter, and we can get on a call and take it forward from there. And yeah, I love meeting founders and bouncing ideas and giving them a feedback as well. Even if you want to, just bounce your ideas, discuss something, always there to help. Yeah, and we have another platform now, which we announced in July 2024. It's a Thunder Fund. It's called Thunder Funder. It's a crowdfunding platform where even non-accredited investors can invest. And right now we have one deal live on it, which is Joel's. So Joel's mission is basically to accelerate hyper Bitcoinization by making Bitcoin, the Lightning Network, and Taproot assets basically accessible to developers and end users. Core product offerings are Wallet SDK, Wallet Connect, and Joel's API. Great people. Do check them out on our website, thunderfunder.com. And yeah.
So, first of all, it has to be companies in the US, right? To make clear.
Yes. For Thunder Funder, it has to be a Delaware C Corp or S Corp.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because we have license for US entities, but the investors could be from anywhere across the globe. That gives us, we can have anyone who wants to be a part of this journey or wants to push this community forward can come and check our website, thunderfunder.com. So either if you're a founder or if you are an investor looking to, put your funds for a Bitcoin startup, you do not know how to do that. We have made it quite easy. And even if you have any questions, you can connect to us. Always happy to help. And yeah, that's our way to, push it forward and make it accessible to all the people around the globe.
I was just thinking that when you build a startup, you have a lot of obstacles or challenges. So probably you have seen a lot. So what are the biggest challenges that you have seen these startups face in the early stages, mostly in the early stages, and how they overcome to this?
See, any startup, in fact, is quite difficult, but Bitcoin is,
yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so different founders have different challenges. Different startup have different challenges. I cannot pinpoint, okay, I can give you some of the challenges that that's been shared with me and I know of. Like when there is you have a absence of data is something where you don't know how to. You're an early mover. You don't have historical data. You do not have any competitor. You do not know, which trajectory to follow. It's quite difficult for a founder. It's a tough journey. They don't know how to do market sizing. They don't know, what should be their go-to-market strategy. There is no competitor maturity in the space, and they do not know which market to pick as a beachhead or a launch market, and then how it's very important, but they do not know where to start from. They have like 100 ideas, but they can't pick one and focus on that. That's one of the challenges. And then there is also a myth that it's very hard to get a call or get to meet a VC. So we, as Lightning Ventures and Thunder Funder, we are trying to break that myth that VCs are it's a two-way road. We are evaluating a startup. These days, startup also evaluate a VC. They're not just looking for money. They want a good VC who could be a strategic investor, who could help them after money as well, who can help them with anything they are struggling with, or help them grow, or have with the other introductions, things like that. And we are just trying to bridge that gap and provide them insights, and help them in overcoming any challenges apart from money. Money is there, but we are there to, help them not only to survive, but to thrive as well.
Yeah, actually, I was looking into Underfunder that I'd see that it opens early stage investing to non-accredited investors, right? So
yeah, that's the idea, because Lightning Ventures, you have only accredited investors. So we realized, if you want more people to come and support Bitcoin startups, you need non-accredited investors. So you sitting in Spain can just go and support Joel's. You can invest any amount of money starting from $100 to the amount you like to fund. So it's for everyone who wants to be part of this community. So we have made it easier for everyone, and that's how it is.
So you think that it will be a growth in the Bitcoin startups coming with this way, because it's easier, as you mentioned.
What we are doing is something really new, and our niche is Bitcoin. Now we are also, it's a startup for us now.
Yeah.
So we will also face the same challenges that a founder faces, but what keeps us going is now 2024, as we mentioned about the policies. So I think timing is very important, and it played in us. It's really I think it'll be a good factor for us. We need deals like Joel's, who are doing actual work and who are into this space. And Joel's is doing wonderful, and since they work in Bitcoin Lightning and Taproot assets, and they have amazing tech and amazing team. So we need people like Joel's, and so anyone who is a US entity can reach out to us. And yeah.
And what makes Joel's Reward an exciting opportunity for all the investors? You mentioned that Taproot Reward, but if you can...
Joel's actually was part of the pitch day contest in Nashville. So they won the pitch day at Nashville. That's how we really liked their idea, because they are developing infrastructure to make Bitcoin, the Lightning Network, and Taproot assets more accessible for businesses and end users. And their SDK and API, the suite enables businesses to integrate Bitcoin, Lightning Network, and Taproot assets functionality into their applications. That enables the people who are using it. It reduces the development time and cost. Joel's has a market opportunity also. So from a SOM perspective, we were looking at it and we found it really interesting. And they have advantage in Taproot assets and infrastructure, and they're also addressing developer shortage in the Lightning Network space, things like that. And on top of that, they have experienced team which has prior experience in Bitcoin and enterprise software. So these were the things that I felt that, okay, this is something which is commendable about Joel's, and that's why we decided to Thunder Funder.
Yeah, actually, we were discussing with Stephen that they launched the first Taproot asset in Brazil. They announced it in the SatsConf. It's quite amazing, yeah. So yeah, I think Taproot assets will be really interesting to catch up to see what's coming.
Yeah, I think it is amazing. It is amazing and emerging technology, and it will definitely enable, also stable coin as its biggest use case. I'm talking in general, and I can now say that it'll be the biggest. I would say use cases of Lightning Network Taproot assets would be USDT and USDC. One, Ethereum goes out of fashion. I hope it happens. So yeah.
See, talking about Lightning, well, we're discussing a lot about that, but you're really diving into it. So what else there's coming, like new inventions, improvement, do you foresee on the horizon of Lightning?
I am looking...
Cuando dejas tus activos digitales en un exchange o en custodia de alguien más, te expones a riesgos de terceros no deseados. A diferencia del sistema bancario tradicional, Bitcoin te permite tomar el control total de tus fondos utilizando tus propias claves privadas. Esto te permite ser soberano y esencialmente tu propio banco. Al tomar el control de tus Bitcoins, puedes evitar riesgos innecesarios de terceros. Almacenar tus Bitcoin en custodia de terceros como los exchanges puede exponerte a ataques de actores malintencionados, gobiernos o estafadores que lo único que quieren es apoderarse de tu dinero. El proceso de autocustodia puede parecer abrumador al principio, pero afortunadamente Blockstream Jade Wallet hace que sea súper fácil custodiar tus activos. Las billeteras de hardware son dispositivos que almacenan de forma segura las claves privadas de tus bitcoins y activos de Liquid sin conexión a Internet. Las billeteras de hardware aumentan la seguridad de tu billetera porque tus claves privadas se almacenan en un dispositivo especializado que no está siempre conectado al Internet. Como te he dicho antes, mantener tus claves almacenadas en un dispositivo en línea puede exponerte a factores adicionales de ataque, por lo que se recomienda usar una billetera de hardware al almacenar grandes cantidades de Bitcoin durante largos periodos de tiempo. Jade es una billetera de hardware no custodial para Bitcoins y Liquid que ofrece opciones de firma simple y firmas múltiples. Yo personalmente lo utilizo para almacenar mis Bitcoins, ya que me siento mucho más seguro manteniendo mis Bitcoins en una billetera fría que en una almacenada, por ejemplo, en mi teléfono. Si estás pensando en adquirir uno para ti, no olvides utilizar el código de descuento de nuestro show, Bitcorner Podcast. De esta forma estarás apoyando directamente el show y además obtendrás un 10% de descuento para la compra de tu billetera fría.
As a trend, I would say a rise of Lightning Network L2 capabilities on Lightning, Liquid, and Arc. I'm see it as a I'm bullish about, and I'm also I'm like Lightning Network. I think is I mean it's I'm very bullish on Lightning Network. I think what else I would say?
Just think
LN
about it.
is all about payments, and I think that'll be something that's gonna how we do micropayments. Micropayments is, I think, people just feel, oh, okay, it's just for the coffee use case. It's not that only. It's just, it's just the beginning. It's gonna be a game changer when we have micropayments and cross-border payments and remittances. There is still a great market to be tapped. It's a huge TAM SAM. All financial institutions, I think, in future will settle and replace Swift network. Swift, which is like a 1973 technology, we still have intermediaries in between. We're paying a high cost to do these payments, and I'm like, it's high time that we switch from Swift to Lightning network. And I'm just hoping that will happen, and there are a few companies who are working towards it. And this is something I really want to happen. Cross-border payments, micropayments. This is something, and from startup perspective also, we are seeing remittances, creator, global remote work, gig workers, gig economy. This is something, and also stable coins. This will be the biggest cross-border payment use cases if it becomes mainstream. But yeah, of course, anything to become mainstream takes time. But I'm really bullish on this.
No, yeah. One thing that I was thinking about is about the remittances. This is one of the key topics in El Salvador, after we made it legal tender. And it's actually really good because all the money that, go to Western unions and the other ones, now it's coming to the families in El Salvador because the fee, it's like almost zero, right? There's a few sats, but it's almost zero what you're paying for it. And if you do it in the fiat system, so besides the fees, there's a cost to withdraw to send it, right? So it's really interesting.
Yeah, and on top of that, I would say I would add, Lightning channels are also becoming bigger with Bitcoin flow price going up. The capacity of
Yeah.
existing channel has, it has grown automatically within existing Lightning channels. So I think this will enable more cost-effective Lightning payments with previously open channels. So I think this is a golden hour for this capability.
Yeah, and one thing that people don't realize is that even people that when they pay, they don't think about the third party that's coming in the transaction, right? Because when you this is a common topic when I have new people coming into Bitcoin space, and they don't realize that when you pay on the POS, it's actually a third party. It's quite interesting that they don't see, for example, that actually what they're doing with the POS is that they're taking the information about your credit card, the seller, and then it's sent it to the bank entity, and then the bank entity is sending it to the credit card network, and then it's sending the information to the bank emissary, right? So, and then it's coming back. So there's a lot of third parties coming the way, and when you do it,
Because everybody is making money, all the third parties and intermediaries are making money. That's why they don't want to, shift to a new technology. They're still using the 1973. It's a closed ecosystem technology that has a high failure rate and non-standardized protocol. Non-standardized protocol messaging as its biggest issues. And I think if I even just talk about APAC region, there's a greenfield opportunity where cross-border payment remittances, micropayments can become a double-digit billion-dollar market. I think it's just a matter of time when startups will enable this and they'll become mainstream, and then we'll see change.
Absolutely. And all right, we're gonna start wrap it up, but I have a couple more questions. One is for the entrepreneurs that probably are listening to the podcast. So, and who wants to enter into, to develop something into Bitcoin. So what advice will you offer regarding building a startup that aligns with, of course, Bitcoin's principles?
Just you need to be focused. You need to just be there, and they should also be very careful of the space they are gonna pick within Bitcoin. They have to be really clear about the space they're gonna pick up. They have to have a great team around it to build. Startups are all. Startup journey is already. It's always tough, and building on Bitcoin is harder. And I would just recommend that just focus on value proposition. You need to have a clarity around it. You need to have a clarity on solve and pick up a real problem, where there is a market for it. So the solution, don't try to change a characteristic of a human behavior. Just build something around where there is a demand. It's just that you build something around it, and just by using the word Bitcoin as a marketing term to attract VC capital, that doesn't work. Do not use the Bitcoin narrative just for the heck of it. Have your fundamentals and core in place. That's very important. Just the Bitcoin narrative is not going to take you forward. That doesn't really work. Trust me. And if you are picking Bitcoin space, it's going to be difficult. It's not easy. It's not that, okay, now Trump is in power and things are going, it's going to be easy. No, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be, you have to be really focused, and business and customer development is also equally important beyond the tech. You should focus on that part as well, and hence have a, balanced co-founding team. That's very important, because we as a VC, look at the founder market fit, having, an outlier history of performance. We look for a professional or repeat founder. And that's where the balanced co-founding team is important. The chief sales and a revenue officer is as important as CTO, because you need to have beyond tech, this is also very important. Then customer revenue and metrics, traction, that matters. That's very important. You need to focus on that part as well. I can go on.
Please, you're giving really good advices. Damn. For real. That's why I made this question.
Initially, you might get a round of funding from angel investors, from a VC, but what happens in the next round of funding? So customer revenue, or the revenue, or the traction, that eventually matters, because end of the day we are gonna talk numbers. That's important. And you have to be really focused from the day one. You have to do backward calculation how you're gonna reach to that, because end of the day Bitcoin business is still a business. No,
Yeah, exactly.
fundamentals of 0 to 1 matter. It matters a lot, not as only from a VC perspective, but also from a startup. So what questions we are asking you, it should be your, it should be, it's like the old playbooks of entrepreneurial are still applicable. And it's just, I mean, the still that journey is still applicable. It's applicable for everyone. Everyone has to go that trajectory. Everyone has to follow it. There is no shortcut. Bitcoin is not a shortcut. I mean,
Yeah.
just playing with the narrative. No, it's not. In fact, you have to be really know the core fundamentals, depth of knowledge around what you're building, why you're building, for whom you're building. That's very important. And what is the current solution in the market, and what is the new solution that you're offering, has to have there has to be clear understanding. And most important, which I started, was laser focused on value proposition. I would urge you to it's my personal opinion. I would really recommend founders to look up for, I would say, models like 2D3, which is it's a SaaS model basically, which SaaS companies follow. Yeah, it's triple double. So how you move from one to $0 to $100 million, that journey. Then bowling pin strategy, how you go to from one market to another market, how you follow that, how your product version changes. That's the bowling pin strategy. And the beachhead or the launch market in market sizing. When you do market sizing, you need to have a clear clarity. Like if you're going for a launch market or a beachhead market, say for instance in Singapore, then what's your Samsung or TAM? That next market has to have a something similar to the Singapore market. So like for example, if you're starting with Singapore, you cannot go to the next market, say Africa. I mean, you need to have a clarity. You need to pick a similar market because your model worked in Singapore. Now pick up a similar market to Singapore and start your journey. And the journey that you follow for the basic revenue, and I mean that's actually same for any startup, be it Bitcoin or be it traditional startup. Yeah, I guess
those were really amazing advice. No, it's awesome for real, because even I don't know. I'm just thinking there are entrepreneurs right now in El Salvador that probably live in the US, and probably they have their second nationality in the US and want to build in Bitcoin and then to pivot to El Salvador. I don't know. I'm just thinking what could happen, right? So these are really good advice, and for anyone actually. So thank you. Yeah.
I hope to help someone.
Absolutely. And in the end, when you were explaining about the Bitcoin is not just if you use the word Bitcoin as a market, it won't work. I was just thinking, all right, maybe their strategy could be like something like Jolts do, that they are basically the Trojan horse behind right there. So they're saying, all right, we're going to work with fiat companies in the rewards and the loyalty programs, but instead in back it with fiat that is inflationary. Let's do it with Bitcoin, right? So in the end, it's Bitcoin there, but they are working in the outside with fiat companies somehow that they feel natural and related. I think in the end, you're right. It's not that you have to reinvent the wheel, right? It's just that I focus on the needs of the people and then do it at your pace. So yeah. All right.
There is a huge market that is untapped, and like you mentioned about the cross-border payments, the remittances, the micropayments. There are other avenues open for these founders. They have to just get into this space, and yes, of course, we are there to help. In fact, so you can reach out to us and bounce your ideas or pitch us. We're there to help, and we would love to be part of their journey. And Bitcoin is Internet 2.0 in terms of opportunity, but on, I would say, steroids.
All
Imagination is the
right.
key. Imagination is the key on what is possible. And we
Mhm.
as Lightning Ventures are betting on you founders, before anyone will believe on you, we are there for you. So that's why we, invest in early stage startups also. So that's our, role to push this community forward. And we have history of pre-seed bets where we moved first. That was and I would like to give Mike Jarmusch, the general partner of Lighting Ventures, the credit, who had this vision in 2021 to believe in these pre-seeds startups. And when no one believed in these startups, doing something at that point of time, believing in these founders, I mean, it's incredible. Let's give the credit to this great guy. And
All right.
yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to push, and help with his vision. And I think, yeah, we are doing good work here. That's the part that we can help, and we take bets on super early, I would say, crazy ideas, moonshot ideas also. We think we as Lighting Ventures are your partners, the first one when no one believes. you know you know
That's awesome.
I mean, you need someone equally crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% truth. So, and yeah, definitely companies like yours are really needed to enforce other companies to build their own stuff. So yeah. All right. My last question is, I have recently I have this game in the podcast that my previous guest have a question for you, and you had to prepare a question for the next guest. But
Who's your next?
because I'm gonna tell you, so people don't know this, because I always delete this part, so people don't know until the next one. That's the fun part.
Okay.
Because so the idea is that my last guest have a prepared question for you, and then I, of course, give you the question, you answer, and then you give the question for the next one, and that's how it works. And in the podcast, I put the clip of the person that asking the question. So yeah, but the thing is that because we prepared it in short notice, you don't have a previous guest, but I'm doing that part. I'm gonna be the previous guest. So I have a prepared question, and then for you, I'm gonna give you
Game
four
on.
options. I'm gonna give you four options of my next guest, right? So my prepared question, I'll be the previous guest, is that what do you think Bitcoin have changed you the most? And I'm not talking about the money. I'm just talking like you as a person, like in terms of how you perceive the world, probably your values, I don't know, anything.
As a person, okay, I think I align well with Bitcoin values now. I can relate to it, the high standard of Bitcoiners. I follow the same standards now, where you say don't trust but verify. Those standards I truly now believe in. It's not just a saying, it's something I truly believe in. And I also believe in that it's permissionless. Anybody can come and build on it, build the use cases around it. And you do not need a third party to, you do not need intermediaries. It's permissionless. And that's the values I really, believe in, and that has changed me personally, my thinking around it. And I feel this is you know uh, the most hardest money ever invented. And no, and also to certain values of like, no cancel culture, trustlessness. These are something that I really resonate with. And fix the money, fix the world. This is
Absolutely.
these are the Bitcoin values that I resonate with, and I truly believe in that. That's the change that has happened over the years. It was not a one day thing that just, it didn't click me in a day. And these are the most important values that I have imbibed over the years, and I think it's gonna be with me throughout this journey.
That's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna give you the possible options of my next guest.
Sure.
Because the thing is that your episode is quite special because the next one actually has to be Drew because it's connected with Jolt. So so people will understand in a second. Well, in the next episode. I don't know when this is going to be posted. After, but I'm sure that it's going to be posted after Drew one. After
Jolt, then
Blockstream.
it has.
That's the only thing I know. But for now, it's a bit a mess.
I guess since you have
already
interviewed Stephen.
Do you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me? I lost you, I guess.
No, yeah, I'll go ahead with your time because it will be actually the one you pick. Your episode has to be previously then. That's how I'm gonna. Okay. That's how I'm gonna publish.
So the person who picked up for me didn't know that I was being, because we just
Yeah, we arranged it later. Actually, yeah. When the thing is that I was with Stephen, and then I didn't have anything today until tomorrow. And tomorrow it was Drew from Blockstream. So it was quite good because he was connected. Jolts and Blockstream. I was like, oh, damn, this is awesome. And they know each other and they know me. So it was like, but then it came to your episode. So I was like, all right, it's fine, but I don't have a question for you.
Okay, got it. So who's this person you mentioned?
All right, Kush, I don't know what else to ask you, but thank you very much for being on the show. If anything that you want to add that probably I didn't ask, this is the time. And people, where can they find you?
Sorry?
Where people can find you? Yeah, and if you want to add anything that I didn't ask.
No, I guess you asked wonderful questions. We covered all the aspects, in fact. And as far as my Twitter is concerned, they can find me on my Twitter handle is Dr. Khushboo _K. It's DRKHUSHBOO_K. So you can reach out to me, drop me a message there. And yeah, we can take it forward from there.
All right, perfect. Once again, thank you for being on the podcast.
Sorry, I'm not Twitter, X actually. So my bad, Elon Musk. He might get angry.
He will get mad.
Yeah, because I have a habit of saying, so my X ID is, my X handle is Dr. Kush.
That's awesome. So thank you very much and keep enjoying El Salvador. At least the hours that you have.
Thank you for having me. Love talking to you. Worth it. Morning.
All right, guys. See you next week. Ciao.